Hello? Who's ready to paint? I'll give it a few minutes. I don't think anybody's watching yet, or at least that I can see. Here, I'll try to find myself on here while I'm waiting. Oh, I see 2 people popped on. Say hi if you're watching. Let me know where you're watching from. I don't think it's on here yet. Okay, we'll give it a few more minutes there. Hi, Lana. How is everybody tonight? Oh, cool, Pennsylvania. That's awesome. I love seeing where everybody's from because not too long ago, it was just staying kind of around where I live, which is in Ontario, Canada. So it's nice to see with doing these paint parties that it's kind of reaching further out. I'm just going to give it a few more minutes and then I'm going to explain a couple things and we'll get painting. This painting will probably take about 2 full hours. It's quite detailed, but we'll keep moving it along. Each step is explained, so it's not too hard to do. I promise it will be easy. You'll be happy with whatever you come up with. Oh, cool. I got Angela from Nova Scotia. Cool. All right, so I just want to start with, I was asked yesterday about why we are doing a stencil for this one. So if anybody's kind of curious, this painting is a little bit more difficult than some of the ones I do. I've actually haven't done a virtual paint party with a stencil yet. I've done lots of in-person paint parties with them, but since COVID hit, I've just been going and doing virtual ones. So tonight I chose to do a stencil for this so that we have a starting point. I've had people paint with me that have never picked up a brush before for the first time. They're just picking one up. And then I have more experienced painters. So I figured if we can have a good base start for all levels of painters, then we can have good results at the end. And I want everybody to walk away feeling accomplished and confident in their work. So that is why I chose a stencil for this particular painting tonight. Hi, Caleb. Hi, April. So yeah, your stencil is gonna look like this. Don't mind mine, I spilled some water on it like 2 seconds ago, so I was like, that's my luck. But yeah, so it's gonna look like this. I have mine taped together just because I'm doing an 11 by 14 tonight. So whatever size canvas you have is good. If you went smaller, you might not have these 4 pieces put together. But if you do have separate sheets right now, you can take the time just to tape them together, cut them out and tape them. And then I did give a few different options for how we're going to transfer this on. So if you have, let me see here, I have transfer paper. That's how I'm going to do it tonight. So just a piece of like graphite paper. So we can transfer it on that way. Or if you have a piece of colored chalk, because your canvas is white, you want any other color but white, we can do it that way. So I'll be showing you kind of an idea of both. If you don't have either, then you can just cut out the exact shape of the lady and trace it that way. And then just kind of fill in the middle pieces, kind of freehand it. So there's 3 options there for you. And if you don't have a stencil at all and you want to just freehand it, that's also very welcome. So I guess, okay, we have about 15 people on right now. Doesn't say how long I've been on for, but I guess I'll go over everything that we're going to use tonight. And then I'll introduce myself, since you're probably wondering who I am. But who's this lady teaching me how to paint? Okay, so I have an 11 by 14 multimedia paper. You can have canvas or wood or one of these. Then I have a cup of water, and I have a few different brushes here tonight. I just wanted to show you that really it's not something we have to be really particular on. Whatever you have is good. So I have a 1/2-inch flat brush, which is going to be the biggest one I'm using tonight, and that's going to be for the background and a few fillers. So anything, depending on the size of your canvas, if you're sticking with an 11 by 14 tonight, then this will be plenty big enough. And then I have a couple pointed ones. This is a size 3. This one, oh, this is just a 0. So both of these or anything in between would work. And then I have just a small flathead. So we can make this work with any of these. And then, of course, my paints. So I have a multitude of colors here. Now, whatever you want to do, you do not have to do the same colors that I did. She does not have to be a red hat lady. She can be a purple hat lady or whatever you want. This is a really always an easygoing, use your imagination, let your creativity soar kind of night. So just so you know, though, I'm going to be using Tuscan Red. I have some pumpkin orange here, vivid yellow, white and black. And then for the flowers, I chose to do purple velvet. Tropical green I have, pine green, bright blue, and then I just brought a cotton candy pink to show you for her skin tone. If you don't have like a pre-made one up already, or you need a darker tone or you want a lighter tone, then I'm going to show you how to create that as well. So we have lots of options. And then I just have a tape to tape down my paper for when I transfer it. If you don't have tape, you can just hold it with your hand. A pen to trace, and that's, oh, and a plate. And that's really it. Hi, Melanie. Hi, Chantel. I see somebody's messaging me here. Let's see. Give me 1 second, guys. Okay. All right. So, I guess we can start. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Crystal Anger, and I started Artisticris about 2 years ago now. I chose to leave my job and just pursue this full time because it's my passion and I love it, and I love sharing it with everybody. So, I was doing mostly in-person paint parties, but since COVID hit, I kind of had to alternate and figure out a different way to do what I love. So I'm doing this. It's about my 6th or 7th one online, and they've been going really good. So if you have any questions during this, please ask. Also, if I'm going too fast or you need me to slow down or anything like that, just let me know in the comments. I'm going to be watching here from my laptop if I can find my live video. I feel like every time I do this, it sets up differently, so I'm not sure. But we'll give it a shot here and then we'll start. Yeah, I'm not seeing it yet. But just follow along and I'll answer any questions you have off my phone, I guess, until I can find it. Okay, so how we're going to start is, if you're using the graphite paper, then what you can do is just tape this down where you want it on your page. So I'm just going to flip this camera down. Hi, Mary. I'm going to flip this down here. Let me know if you can see that okay. Now, my phone does not have the thing where you can view it as it's seen. It's going to be backwards to you, but all the same principles are laid down no matter if it's backwards or not. So you're going to put it down. So for me, I made this an 11 by 14 to match my paper. So you're just going to line up the edge here, and then she should fit on. If you have extra space to play around the sides, you can center her, and then you can even just kind of add more of the hat over here if you want, or you don't even have to. You can kind of just leave it like that, or put it right to the edge and leave more space over here. So really, it's just preference, whatever you prefer. So once you have her placed down, if you're doing the graphite paper, you can tape it. If you're doing chalk, oh, can I flip it to be like this here? There we go. I can do it like that. Is that better, Lindsay? Okay. If you're doing it with chalk, what you're going to do is you're going to flip this the other way, and you're going to color the back all with chalk. So you're going to fill this whole thing up with chalk, and what that's basically going to do is just transfer this actual paper to graphite paper so that when you trace it, that chalk is going to be left on your board. Yeah, it won't let me flip my phone once I'm doing a live. I don't know why it won't, but I can just paint like this. That's no big deal. I'm left-handed anyways, so it works out fine. And then if, like I said before, if you don't have either or, then you can just cut it out and just trace around it. So I'm going to take and tape it down. So if you are doing that with the graphite paper, you can just tape it down right now. And then the reason why I tape it down first is so that once I lift it up, it's not going to move again once I put this graphite paper down. So I'm just putting there's like a shiny side and then a dull side. I'm just putting the dull side up, facing up. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to trace your lady on with your pen. If I have a pen that works here, let me see. And this does not have to be like detailed or anything. You can just do a quick trace. This is just guideline. We're going to paint many layers over this anyways, so. And then if your graphite paper doesn't reach, then just lift it back up. And you're just going to just slide it down there. That's why I like to tape it, just so it's kind of in the same area. You know, you're not moving too much. And then when you're done, you can just take it up and you should have your lady transferred on there. Now, if you're using the graphite paper and you see like smudges, don't worry, we're painting this whole thing anyways, so you're not going to see it. But and don't mind my pre-painted sides here. That's because when I paint my other examples, it just kind of leaks onto the bottom. I should probably just do like a single sheet, but I always keep it like this, so that's how it ends up going. But okay, I'll give you guys a few seconds to trace that on, and then I'm going to look for my live video while you do that on my laptop so I can actually see your comments better. Okay, finally, I found myself. Awesome. Okay, so now I can see your comments a lot better. Okay, so when you're done tracing, just throw me some thumbs up just so I know you are ready to start painting. And the fun will begin. Okay, let me shut that down. Okay, so when you're done tracing, just throw me some thumbs up just so I know. Ignore that, sorry guys. Okay, we are ready. All right, awesome. Okay, so what we're gonna do first is we are going to start by painting the red hat before the background, just because we're gonna be putting some layers and we need it dry. So I'm gonna start with my Tuscan red. If you have a different color you wanna do it, then you can throw it on the plate there. And I'm gonna use the 1/2 inch flat brush for this. All right, and we're just gonna paint a layer on here, not too thick. What I like to do is put it on there and just kind of work until my brush runs out of paint and then grab more. You don't really want to have like where you see like those thick lines and then you keep, you know, going around it and then it stays there and dries. You want to have a nice smooth spot. Depending on what paints you're working with, some of you will need a second layer. Some of you will be okay, but I'm going to do a second layer on here. I always preach about acrylics need to be layered to look really good. One layer just doesn't really cut it for acrylics usually. Not when you're painting something like this. If you're doing like a wood sign and it's got lettering and you have a thicker paint, then maybe you're fine. But when it comes to something like this, you need to have a couple layers. And what I'm gonna do when I reach like where there's a seam on here, I'm gonna leave like the slightest space. So I'll show you here. Let me get more paint. So I'm going to take my brush and I'm just going to leave like a small line just so I can see where that separation is, where that line is, because we're going to be putting flowers there and we're going to be tracing this in black anyways. So it doesn't have to meet up. And I'm going to do that basically through the whole thing for the very first layer. And just let me know if at any point my hand's in the way. It's because I'm left-handed. It's always in the way. Okay, so same thing with down here. This is going to be red. So I'm going to leave a small space here, and then you can go up to her face, and then when we do her face, we'll just leave that tiny line for that color. The good thing about flat brushes is if you're painting a wide open space, then you can take up a lot of space with a flat brush. But say you want to like just get a little closer in there, you can always turn it to be the skinnier way and you can use it that way too. So you've got a line like that, or you got a brush stroke like that. So I'd say a flathead brush is probably one of my favorites just because you can use it many different ways. And don't worry if you miss a little bit like that, we're going to be going over it anyways with the background. You don't have to shut your door every time you come out, buddy, because it's making loud noises, okay? Okay. Just, you can just leave it open. You're going to shut it when you go back in.
Okay.
Okay, honey?
Okay.
My husband's on afternoons tonight, so I have my 7-year-old son and my 4-year-old daughter just hanging out in their rooms. So we'll see how many interruptions we get tonight. Okay. So we have our first layer for the hat. I'll give these guys a few minutes between each step. And you can wash your brush off when you're done. We're going to go to new colors after this. Hi, Mom. I love this red. It's so vibrant. I think it really is like the focal point of the picture or the painting. You're still tracing? That's okay. That's okay. I will give you a few minutes to catch up. No worries. Also, I wanted to say this is going to be replayed as soon as it's done. I'm going to post it, and it's going to be up for a very long time. So I'm not taking it down anytime soon. So if for some reason you do fall behind, the second I am done this live, I'm going to post it up, and you can just, you know, take your time and rewind it or pause it or whatever you need to do. What's everybody drinking tonight? I have tea. I am the tea lady, so if you haven't painted with me before, every single time I paint, I have tea. Tonight I have a chai latte going on. Blue, Lindsay says a blue raspberry Moscato. Is that how you pronounce that? Is that alcohol or? Eva says water. It's one. Is that your time is that the time it is where you're at, or 1:18 in Phoenix? Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess time zones would make a difference here. I don't think you want to be drinking alcohol if you're painting at 10 o'clock in the morning. Oh, like a wine. Okay, cool. My husband likes to make his own wine. He has his whole wine collection over there. I don't know if you can see it here. I'll prop it up. You can see it in the background there. Not a huge wine drinker. I feel like I should be because it's just so popular, but I like some, I guess. Just not, some people just like all wines, but I'm kind of fussy. Oh, Eva says it's hot. Yeah, what's the degrees like there? It's been brutal over here. It's been like, I think with the Humidex, it's been almost over 100 for maybe like 3 weeks now. Today it wasn't as bad as probably like 90, but that's still pretty hot. Lindsay says, I prefer chocolate milk. So just throw me some thumbs up whenever you're ready to move on. I want everybody to feel not rushed. So I am here. I have the whole night to myself. Well, at least 3 or 4 hours. So there's no rush. Although I don't want to leave everybody here for 3 hours, but painting is supposed to be relaxing and calming and non-stressful, so. Okay, I'm seeing some hearts and some thumbs up. Natalie, how are you doing? Are you on the painting, or I don't want to rush you too much? Okay. All right, so what we're gonna do next is we're gonna do the background. So we're gonna take 3 colors. I did pine green, pumpkin orange, and vivid yellow. So those 3 we're gonna put right on our plate at the same time. And I'm putting about like a quarter size. I mean, if you have to add more, you can always put more on the plate. Painting? Okay, awesome. So I have those 3 colors going on there. This is going to be a bit of a blending technique, so we're going to want to work while this is wet for this part. So I'm going to wash out my 1/2 inch brush and dry it off pretty good. And we're just gonna start with the yellow. So what I'm doing is I'm getting a good amount of paint on there. I'm definitely not being shy with it. And I'm just gonna take and do like a sweeping back and forth motion. So I'm gonna lift this up here so you can see. And I'm just going like this and then back in little like, kind of like little rectangle-y squares. Just back and forth like that. And that's going to give you that texture. If you happen to go over your hat a bit, we can touch it up with red. No big deal. Everything here is fixable. And I'm just going back and forth like this. And I'm still, you can see it's still pretty wet, and it's okay for this procedure to have it a little bit thicker. So like I was saying, smooth it out here. You don't want to see creases in your paint. Here, that's okay. That's what's giving it that look. So now once I have like a little section of yellow done, I'm gonna grab a little bit of orange. And it doesn't have to be a lot. I'm only doing one side, so it's just there. And I'm just gonna go and do the same thing. Like that. But I'm gonna go right back into the yellow because orange is not our main color here. We're doing mostly yellow. And I'm gonna go even over it and kind of just blend it in again by doing those small motions. And it kind of gives it like an abstract look. And then I'm sticking with yellow again. So really what I'm doing is I'm gonna have pieces that are bright yellow, some that are mixed with orange, some that are brighter orange, and it's just gonna kind of go on like that throughout. There's no right or wrong. If you like the look of having more orange, then throw more orange on there. I always just try to stick as close as I can to the example in case you want to have an exact painting. And when you get like really close to the hat, you can even do like, just kind of like do a line really close to it and then continue that pattern there. Like I said, we're going to be tracing this in black. We're going to be putting a second coat. So no worries. And that's just what we're doing up here, just going back and forth. So one side of my brush comes down, I kind of sweep up, and then the other side comes down. Every single time you push your brush on one side, paint is actually sneaking through to the other side, and that's how you're getting like a good amount of paint on a flat brush hitting a good surface area, because it keeps squishing back and forth, and that's why I go back and forth. So we're gonna have the top looking like that. I'm painting a bit sideways, so if I miss something, don't mind me. And then we're just gonna continue that down here. So for me, I just grabbed yellow again because I still have a little bit of that orange in my brush. It's kind of showing through. And don't mind here too, you'll see like some of my paint in there. I'm not worried about it just because this is my example, but I don't know if I'll cover that completely. Depends on how many layers you got to put to cover that green, but I'm not too worried. Okay, so then when that's done, you can come down here, and I'm still using just the yellow. Just gonna kind of put a line there just so I don't hit it. And I'm going back and forth. And then I'm gonna start to pick up a little more orange in this section. So now I am going towards more orange than yellow. And I'm going to grab a little more yellow in here just to kind of have it blending in so there's no like distinct area where orange starts and yellow ends. You can see, I'll move it closer for you. You can see in here that my yellow is kind of just popping up on top of the orange in areas, but not as prominent as, as up here. And I'm just going to go back up to the top and just put a little more yellow on top here. Just making it a little less orange. I'm only doing that for preference. You don't have to. If you like how yours looks, you can just leave it. Okay, so then when you're down here, we're going to add in a little bit of green. So you're just going to want to take a very small amount because the green is very strong. So I literally have just a tiny bit. I only put it on one side. I didn't even put the end of the brush in it, just the one side. And I'm just going to start doing that same exact thing. So just back and forth. And then right where these two meet, just to blend it, you can grab a little bit of yellow. And just kind of go back and forth here. Grab a little bit of orange. Same thing, back and forth. And I'm going to do a little more green. Until it just kind of looks abstracty like that. And then there is a small tiny section over here too, which I did a little bit of green at the bottom and then I followed up with orange and yellow. So I'm just going to do that down here. And if you feel like there's too much of a color on your brush, so like say I want to start with yellow, but I still have green, just take, you don't have to rinse your brush, but just take it and just kind of give it a clean wipe. Just takes all that excess out of there. And then you can go back in with your yellow and your orange. And then when you're happy with the colors that you have, then you can rinse your brush out again. And I'm just going to give everybody time to catch up on that. Is anybody listening to music tonight? I can't listen to music because Facebook will shut my sound off, but that's like one of the saddest parts about painting without my music, but that's okay. That's okay. I still have your company, but you know, just music just makes everything a little bit better. But if I could sing, I'd sing to you, but you'd probably never join me for painting again, so I'll spare you guys the scare. Maybe we'll save it for October near Halloween. I have a few more paintings, free virtual paintings coming up this month. So if you haven't, well, actually January, which month am I in? July's almost done, but for August, I have, I think, 3 or 4 free virtual paint parties. So at the end of this painting, I'll show you what they are in case you haven't seen them, and feel free to join me. So when you guys are close to being done the background, or you're done, you're ready to move on, just shoot me some more thumbs up or hearts or whatever you want to give me. Just no middle fingers. I don't think that's an option, actually. Could you imagine if it was? Oh, jeez. Like, lives aren't intimidating enough, and now we need the middle finger, right? Anita says, I just got home from work. I'm watching and painting my hat. Awesome. Does anybody know, I was watching another live of a paint night, and on it, the lady had said you can actually rewind this live as it's going and then like just continue on from there. Does anyone know if that's true? Like, can anyone actually take my live and rewind it right now and see if you can actually rewind it? Or I don't know if she has like a special program or if that's just something available for live videos, but it'd be cool to know, because then people, if I'm going too fast, people can just rewind and then it's technically still live, but they just get to do it at their own pace, which is pretty cool. If anybody tries, let me know. Oh, Lindsay, yes? Oh, that's awesome. Okay, cool. That's good to know. Thank you. I'm kind of new to the virtual world, so I'm trying to get tech savvy really fast. It's overwhelming, but it's cool, all the things you can learn. Oh, does it have to be over to rewind? Okay. Yeah, I don't know what program she was using then. I think she was just Facebook Live, but yeah, she said you can actually rewind while watching the live, but I didn't think so, but I don't know. Yes, that's exactly it. It's Artist Palette Durham Region. Yeah, is it like a special program she has, or is that just on a Facebook Live? They do really cool paintings too. I was watching some of theirs. Okay, Anita says, it is true, but it's hard to find the spot you want, and it's hard to get back on track from where you are. I tried it. Oh, okay, I see. So it's probably best just to follow along, and then if you, for some reason, need to go back after the video is done, just go back at your own pace then. So yeah, just throw me some thumbs up if you guys are ready to move on. Okay, Anita says it was Facebook Live. I tried it. Okay, cool. That's good to know. Okay, I see a thumbs up here. I'll wait till there's a couple more thumbs up. Okay, sweet. I got 3 and 4. Okay, so what we're gonna do is put a second coat on our red hat. So we're gonna take that 1/2 inch flat brush again and just put a nice second coat. When we put a second coat, we won't see like all those lines of the brushes as easy. That's why I like to do that. And the second coat doesn't have to be as precise. When I brush it on, I just need to go, I think it's just to make it more even. I always flip my brush back and forth. I don't just go like one side like this. I always flip back and forth. I think that just leaves the paint even on the brush, and you're able to use all your paint before you add more. That's also another way to kind of prevent those lines from happening. I like it too because when you do a second coat, the true color actually comes out of the color in the jar. I feel like it's almost, because it's a bit, well, my paint's a bit thinner. Mine's just from the Dollar Tree, but maybe if you used a thicker paint, it wouldn't happen. But I feel like it's almost like mixing it with white on a white canvas because you can see the white through. So it doesn't give that true pigment. So really what we're just trying to achieve here is just getting our first layers down before we start putting in highlights and all the accents and everything. We just want to establish a base layer. When you're done that second coat, you can wash your brush off again. And I'll just show you the example here. I don't think you have seen it yet tonight, so in case anyone forgets what it looks like. So you can kind of start to see that we're getting there. It's coming. I'm just gonna go rinse out my water and give you guys some time to catch up. I'll be right back. Just let me know when you guys are ready to move on. I'll wait for a couple more thumbs up. I've seen a couple, but wait for a couple more. It's so different than painting in person because I can just see when everyone's caught up. So for me, this is the way to know through your thumbs up if I'm doing good or if I'm going too fast. Okay. All right, I'm starting to see them come in now. Awesome. Okay, so what we'll do next is we're gonna put our base layer on of her dress. So I'm gonna do my bright blue. Whatever color you want her dress to be, you can put it on your plate. Lindsay says, Cash, just strike her paint water. Oh no. Oh, that's good. Oh, that struck me funny. Don't drink your paint water. Maybe I need to put a warning up for that next time. Keep your wine and your water glass far apart. Okay, I'm gonna switch to a small flathead brush. Just because it's a smaller area here. So I'm just gonna put on a base coat of the blue. Just like I did for the hat. most of the time when I'm painting and I'm putting my first layer on, I'm using my brush at like a 45-degree angle. So I'm not like straight up like this painting, and I'm not completely flat. I'm just like curved up a bit. Just because basically this edge here is, I'm using it as a paintbrush, but I'm using it kind of as a scraper to scrape that paint all across evenly. So as I do this, it's kind of scraping it and spreading it properly. If I'm straight down like this, you're going to be applying too much pressure, and that's when you're going to get the lines of the paint coming off each side. So I find just doing that at a 45-degree angle helps prevent having like that paint buildup. Okay, so after that you can rinse your brush again. And let me know in the comments or with thumbs up or hearts if you need me to show you how to make a skin tone with different colors. Because I do have just like a skin tone here that I can use, and then we're going to lighten and darken this for shadowing and highlighting. But if you don't have anything like this, let me know and I'll show you how to make skin tone. Okay, so I saw one thumbs up, so that's all I need because I just need one person who needs to know. So, okay, so what we're going to do for skin tone is we are going to start, if you have brown, a little bit of brown. Now, depending on what type of skin tone you want is how much brown you're going to use as opposed to how much white. So if you want your lady to be a bit darker, then you're going to use more brown. But you just start with a base at first, and then you can always add more browns, more whites after. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to put like a bit like that on my plate. And then I'm going to put some white. I'm going to put double the amount of white for right now. So just on top there. And then I'm going to grab yellow. And I'm putting just a dot in the center. Nothing too crazy. Same with orange. A dot in the center there. And then a light pink. If you don't have light pink, you can take your white and red, mix light pink first, and then put it on top. And my pink's blocked. Give me 1 second. Let me see what I got here. Okay. Okay. Let me get that out of the way. Okay, so I'm just going to take my brush that I just used for the blue dress. So my small flathead. Okay, Anita, you said first coat on hat's done, so you just got the first coat done? Okay. I'm just going to keep moving along, but like I said, I am going to post this after, so please feel free to go back and just take your time. I don't want you to feel rushed, okay? Okay, so I'm just going to take a bit of that pink, and I'm just going to put it in there. So right now, if you're just getting here, I put a little bit of brown, a little bit more white than brown, yellow, orange, and light pink. And I'm just going to mix that in. Lindsay says, what color should I do the dress? I have a baby pink hat. Could do like, do you have like an eggplant color? Like something like this would be pretty. Like a wild eggplant. If you have something like that. It's kind of like a deep purple. You could always mix blue and red, and like a smidgen of black to get that. Okay, so see how we have here. So that has made a pretty fair skin tone. So if I put my pre-made one beside it, I just want to see how close we are. You can see it's not too far off. Actually, I think this one's a bit lighter. So now, if you start with this base and you want it to be a little darker, add more brown. If you want it a bit lighter, then you can add more white. If you feel like it makes it too pale though, throw in a little bit of like the yellow and the pink, and it'll give it that warm tone. Trying to think of what other color. Do like a brownie, Even if you mix like purple and brown, that'd be pretty. Let me know what you pick. Okay, so I am going to start with my base skin color, and I'm just going to paint her. That small flathead brush. Now, because you are putting the two colors together, you don't need to see that line anymore. You can fill in that gap, as long as it wasn't too big of a gap. If not, like I said, we're going to put some black and stuff in there anyways. Is my image coming through clear to everybody? Because I can see, like, on my phone it looks really clear, and then on my laptop sometimes it's a bit fuzzy. Is everyone seeing okay? I rebooted my internet because we have really bad internet here before I did this party. So I was hoping it would be okay for everybody. When everybody's done their paintings, I would love to see them. I try to put up on my page like a photo train of the virtual paint nights. So if you send me your pictures, I'll put them up. And you can do that. You can just leave the picture in the comment, or you can message me with it. Either one works. I've had both. People have done both, so. Did you decide, Lindsay, what color you're going to do her dress? You don't have to go with a second coat here. We're going to be putting on layers anyways. I just am doing it just to give everybody time to catch up. Lindsay says, not yet, purple, black, or white. Maybe I'm indecisive. Not at all. Okay. So I'm just going to wash off my brush. You can do that when you're done. Give everybody a few minutes to catch up. I'll go over again how I made the skin tone too, just in case some of you are just getting there. So I did just like a little tiny dot of brown, the white. The white I used like double it, whatever color, like however much brown you're using, double it if you just want to get roughly this skin tone here. And then just a dot on top of orange, a dot of yellow, and I did a dot of, this one's, what is this, cotton candy pink. But any light tone you have, if you don't have a light tone, you can just take red, mix white in first, get a light tone of pink, and then you can just push some over into your mix. And then what you'll end up with is sort of that. And then if you want, like I said, it to be darker, more, just add more brown. And I don't think you'd want it lighter, that's pretty light. But if you want it lighter, even when we go to add highlights, then we're just gonna add some more white to it. And just shoot me some thumbs up or some happy faces, whatever, when you're ready to move on. You decided to go with white? Awesome. Okay, I see one thumbs up. I'll wait for a couple more. Sorry guys, I lost you for a minute. Let me know if I'm back. Am I back? Okay. It says I paused it and I didn't, so I don't even know if you can pause it. I didn't think it was possible to pause it. Okay. So everyone can see me okay again, or see my painting okay? Okay, so what we're gonna do next... Hey, buddy. Hi. So what we're gonna do next is we're gonna outline everything in black. So we're gonna get some black out. And I'm gonna use for myself, now this doesn't, you can go smaller for this, but I'm gonna use my number 3 pointed brush. If you just have a small tiny one like that, that will work just as fine. You'll probably just have to load it up more often than this one. And then what we're going to do is we're going to outline the hat. Okay, so we'll do the hat first. You don't have to worry about this in here because we're going to be covering it with flowers. So we'll outline the hat and then very, very lightly just outline the lady. When we go back over with more layers, that black line is going to kind of diminish a bit, and that's what we want. So we're just going to put a little bit of paint on, not too crazy. And we're just going to outline. So if you have a space that you left between the two colors, this is where you can fill it in. And this type of painting, this is not like straight lines, particular. The best part about this painting is it's kind of a little bit messy around the edges. So if you can see, like here, I moved over, like there's hit and misses. It's not a completely straight line all the way around. It's kind of messy. So don't worry about not having a steady hand or anything like that. That's what kind of gives it that look. So like right here on purpose, I'll move it closer. You can see like that's not completely straight. And when you outline this, like you don't have to go a solid line. Like you can hit or miss a couple spots, or if you press down on your brush, you can make a thicker line and then kind of come up lighter and then go back down thicker a bit. So really just with your hand pressure, you can achieve that look. So same here. Let me just move this over. So if I come over here and I do this line, I can go and put a lot of pressure and then kind of lift up and make it a bit thinner. And then kind of come back down with it a bit thicker there. So when we have the base of the hat done, for that it doesn't really matter, like I said, how neat it is. It's when we start to get, when we're starting to do like her body and her dress, we want to just be a little more light-handed so that it's a thinner line. So for that, I usually like to just kind of clean off my brush. You don't have to put it in the water, just kind of get the excess paint off. And then I only dunk the very tip of my paintbrush in, not too far down. So it's hard to see because it's all black right now, but just the very tip of it is. And then I just go very lightly. Okay. Okay, so when you're done now, you can rinse off your brush. And I'll give you guys more time to catch up here. I'm just gonna go, I'll be right back. I'm just gonna go check my daughter, make sure she's okay. She's probably just sleeping, but just wanna make sure. Hi, Bina. Can I tell again what I did? Like, you mean from the very beginning, or for some specific step? How's everybody doing with their painting? Or is everyone pretty much caught up? Hi, Tammy. I know you're sad you're missing the live painting. That's okay. I have like 4 more coming up in the next month, so I'm sure that you'll be here. I'm missing my tea partner. Bina, okay, I'm gonna actually, as soon as this live video is done, I'm gonna post the replay. So if you just want to give us, what time is it? 9:16. Probably like another maybe hour, I'll be done, and you can start the video. Take your time. It's going to be up for a long time, so it will be available to you. Just because there's quite a few steps at this point that we did. So to explain them to you, it would be like, it would take probably about an hour and 15 minutes. So, but if you want, afterwards, feel free. You can just take your time and go through the video. I wonder why you couldn't join. That's kind of weird, because this is just free live paint night. So, just from my page, you should have been able to see me. That's weird. I wonder why not. Okay, so just give me thumbs up, guys, if you're ready to move on to the next step. Okay. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put some flowers on her hat. So you can choose any colors you want. I did purple, yellow, and a little bit of blue. So I'm just going to put that on my Put it on my plate. They already have blue and yellow. I'll put a little bit more. And we're just going to use the small flathead brush. So for this here, we didn't trace the flowers on, so this you can do any way you want. I didn't want to have too much traced because I like to see how everyone's painting turns out a little bit different. So for this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the purple, and I'm just going to put a good amount of paint on my brush here. And I'm just going to start like kind of off center, but in the middle a bit, and I'm going to do a big flower here. So how I'm going to do that is I'm just going to put my brush down, so pick a spot, and I'm just going to go in kind of an oval and just do that like that. So there's one petal, and I'm going to throw another one here. And I'm reloading my brush every time I do a petal. And you can kind of play with this, like if you think your petals should be bigger some places, and you can always add a little bit more like that after. And I'm really just going in a circle. So I'm moving my whole arm. I'm not just moving my wrist, I'm moving my whole arm. Kind of gives me more control in the shape I want to make my petal. And this is a flat, I'm going flat down, so I am using it straight up and down when I'm doing this. And you can continue to do that with the purple or whatever color you're using, kind of wherever you want to place that color of flowers. So I did one here, and then I have like a 3-petaled one here. And don't worry about going over the black. You can go right over it. You can go right over the yellow. And I did a 3-petal one here. And then you can go like a little bit smaller here. Okay, so I'm just gonna put some more flowers over here. I'm gonna kind of skip a little bit of space, and I'm gonna put another 3-petal one here. Tammy, are you at the gym or are you at home now? Okay, so as I do that, I'm just gonna go back to my first flower, and I'm just gonna put a light second layer. You don't want to go too heavy-handed here or you'll take your bottom layer off, but just very lightly, just to make it a little bit thicker. gonna do the same exact thing with the yellow. I'm gonna switch to yellow here, so you can wash off your brush when you're done with your color. Home now? Yeah. Are the gyms open, or are you just like doing an outdoor? I know some of the gyms were holding like outdoor events. Because I didn't think gyms were open yet. Although some people are in stage 3, I guess. So I think gyms are open. I don't know. I'm so confused by everything. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to switch to yellow now. And I'm going to kind of just throw my yellow flowers in beside my purple ones. So wherever you have some extra space. So I'm going to put one here. And one in here. And don't worry about overlapping. You can overlap them. There's really no right or wrong placement for these. Wherever you want to put them. However big or small you want to make each one. Tammy says, I was at the gym, so I missed out on the live painting. Don't be sad. Don't be sad. And then, okay, so today was your first outdoor. Okay, that's cool. Do you just go in Essex, or? I know I think there's one place by the library that was doing it outside. And I'm just going to take and do the same thing I did, just kind of go over the yellow a bit. Just remember, be light-handed or you'll take your bottom layer of paint off because it's not completely dry yet. I'm coming through just making this flower a little bit bigger. And then I'm going to switch and do a blue flower in between there. Oh, in Leamington, okay. Anita, the painting will be up for a really long time. Like, I don't even know if I'll take it down, so no rush. All my live paintings from the past are still up, and I've been doing them for a couple months now, so you'll definitely have time to get it done. I like to leave them up. That way people, if they, you know, they're bored one night, they can go on and not feel rushed to do it. Just know it's available there. It's free anyways, so It'll be there for you. Okay, so after you're welcome, Anita. So after you're all done, you can go and we're just gonna put in some leaves here and there. So I'm gonna just take, I'm gonna start with a darker pine green. And I'm just gonna throw some leaves in around the flowers. And I am still going to use the flat head small brush for this. The only thing is I'm going to use it up and down, so it's going to be on the skinniest part here. I'm not going to be using it on like the whole width, just the skinny part. So I'm just going to tap basically my brush in, kind of tap it off a bit, and then I can make the leaves by just doing like one, it's sort of like a bracket this way, and then a bracket that way. And then I have a leaf. I'll move it up so you can see it. You can see the one leaf there. And I'm just gonna fill in where I feel like it's bare. If you can't fit a whole leaf in, I'll just do like a couple little like circle dots kind of in between. Same way you did the flowers, but just as a leaf. How's everyone doing over there, Lindsay? Are you guys still good with where I'm at? Awesome. Okay, good. And I'm just gonna throw some wispies up here. So I'm still gonna use the flathead brush here. My phone keeps telling me it's stopping. Just let me know if it stops, guys. I don't know if it's lying to me or not. So I'm still gonna use the flathead brush. I'm just gonna use it straight up, and I'm just gonna do little wispies with the dark green first. So I'm basically just putting my brush down, and I'm just gonna flick up. So I'm putting down some pressure, and then as I flick up, I'm letting go of the pressure. And then I'm going to take some light green, And I'm just gonna go and blend a little bit in on my leaves. So I'm gonna take and with a flathead brush, and I'm just gonna do the same thing over the dark green. I'm just gonna kind of flick up here and there. And then I'm just gonna take and kind of go just a very light-handed and with not much paint on my brush. So kind of wipe it off, just have a little bit. And I'm just gonna kind of go over my leaves a little bit here. So you're still gonna see, you're still gonna be able to see the dark green under, but you're just kind of putting a highlight on top and not over the whole thing. So I kind of like to do one whole side and then there's a little bit of another side. And I'm gonna do that with all the leaves. Okay, so when you're done that, you can wash off your brush. Anita says, thank you so much. I have to finish tomorrow. I'm tired from work, but I love this red hat lady. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. I'm glad you're enjoying it. You send me a picture when it's all done and I'd love to see it. Okay, so I'm gonna keep moving along. Let me know if I am moving too fast. I'm just gonna keep moving along just because we're at about an hour and 40 minutes and we still have a little bit to go. So I don't want to keep everybody too long tonight, but I also don't want to rush everybody. So I'm just gonna keep going and just let me know if you need me to slow down. So what I'm gonna do is we're just gonna be outlining the flowers next with black. And I'm gonna use this fine tip brush again, the size 3. Now, when I outline the flowers, I want them to be messy. I don't want to take and outline them in a perfect outline. So I'm going to show you an example of what I mean. And I'm going to show you the actual example so you can see again how they look. But they're definitely not outlining perfectly. Okay. So as you can see, like, I've kind of, like, there's yellow on the outside of this one. This one's kind of, like, you can see the red behind. Like, nothing here is, this one I don't even think I really did too much. So they're just hit or miss black outlines. And that's really what we're going to be doing. So it doesn't have to be an exact around perfect. We're just kind of swooping here and there. So I'll show you here. So for example, this yellow one, I might just kind of go like that. So I didn't even really do anything too crazy there, just around like that. And that's what I'm going to be doing for most of them. I'm using a multimedia paper. So this is a pad of 60 sheets. I got it on Amazon. I think it was like $16.99, but that's in Canada. So if you are in the States, you'll probably be cheaper. But I love it because you can paint watercolor, acrylics, and if you see on the back, like no paint's coming through. So I use this for all my examples, and then like when I repaint them. Also, if you like to paint a lot and you don't want to have tons of canvas laying around your house or pieces of wood, then this is a great way to go. And it's also really cool because this is 11 by 14. So say you really like one of your pictures that you painted, you can just grab a frame, even like at the dollar store, and you can frame it and hang it up and it'll look awesome. So that's what I use. And then for paint, right now tonight I'm using just acrylic paint from the Dollar Tree. The reason why I'm using this is because when I was doing paint parties in person, I was having like parties of 50 people, and it's just a paint that's, for the price, it's pretty good quality. If I was to go up, like say I was to do a professional painting, then I'd probably, don't mind my dog, he's shaking, then I would probably go up to maybe like a deco art or something like that that's a bit thicker. But I honestly have done tons and tons of paintings with this. I've even done orders, and if you just layer, it looks really, really good. So, and it's cost effective. Okay, so we're just gonna keep doing whatever we want with our flowers here. And like I said, it's just a quick swoop. So I am not even like worried at all about staying on the line. I'm just like swooping. So as you can see, like here, like I missed half of the flower. Like I love it. That's what I want. And see, even in here, like some of the yellow paint was still wet and it smeared into there. Like that's awesome. I love it. I love it. And that's what makes every painting unique. Because I can tell you right now, my example painting, it's going to be a little bit different than this. And that's okay. And I'm going to do the same thing with my leaves too. I'm just going to swoop up and down. So where am I here? On there, see I like completely missed. And they can crisscross. It's no problem. And then I'm going to do the same thing inside these like wispy parts. I'm just going to kind of take and just do some black lines. They don't have to be straight, make them kind of squiggly. Like that. And I'm just going to give you guys a second to catch up here before we move on to finishing off the flowers. I'll be right back. I'm going to go let my dog out. And when I come back, I'll see where everybody's at. So I'll leave that here so you can see kind of what I did. I'm going to go outside. Come on. right, I'm back. Okay. So let me know where everybody's at. Is everyone good if I keep moving on? Just shoot me some thumbs up. Okay. Sorry, I saw something on my camera. I was just curious what it was. Okay, I thought it was a spider, but I don't know what that was. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do the center of our flowers. Now, if your flowers are still pretty wet, maybe just leave it a little bit longer, just because you don't want to mix too much. But I'm going to go in with my white. And you can always go back and do this part after. But I'm just going to use the same flathead small brush. And I'm just going to go and I'm going to make tiny little circles inside. So I'm just tapping and then I'm just going to tap it off a bit. And I'm just going to go in the center here and just kind of make little circles like that. And even if some of your paint swirls in there, that's no big deal. Okay, once that's done, we're just going to put the little black dots inside. So I'll show you here. We have little black dots, and you can see even in this one, like my paint mixed a bit. So if it's a little bit wet still and it's mixing, that's no problem. And then we're just going to throw some little dots on the side. Just kind of makes it look a little bit whimsical. And I'm going to do that with my number 3 pointed brush. So this one here. And I'm just going to give little centers. And then just put a couple little dots in there. There's no exact placement of the dots. I put like the big one in the center, but then the little ones, I just kind of throw them around wherever you want. And some I do more, some I do less. Same with if you have like a flower that's kind of like leaning up another one against another one, I just kind of do like a half moon for the center. And then same with the surround, I kind of put just a few black dots. Some are bigger than the others. And I like to make like one bigger one and then I'll kind of like trail it off smaller. And that completes our flowers. So now we can really start just shading everything and then we'll be done. Just give me a thumbs up when you're ready. Okay, I'll be right back. I'm just gonna plug in my laptop and then we'll go to the next step. I can see it's dawning on me. Okay, so we'll work on the hat first. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna take, if you still have some orange left on your plate that's still not dry yet, then we're gonna take this bigger brush here, the flathead, and we're gonna get it a little bit wet. So we're just gonna dunk it in the water and then we're gonna take our napkin and kind of just pat it off so it's not like soaked. And then we're gonna stick it in the orange. So we're gonna have it like that, but then we're just gonna take and wipe off the excess. So you just kind of want to see the bristles through it. You want a very light coat, okay? And we're gonna work in here. So what we're gonna do is very light-handedly, we're gonna just stroke it down like this, and you're gonna see that coming through like that. So it's gonna be hit and miss. If it's turning out solid, you have too much paint on your brush. And we just wanna get that look there. We're gonna do the same thing, just a little bit through here. So you can put more paint on your brush, but just kind of wipe it off after that. And you're ending up where you can see the bristles through. And you're just gonna kind of just go lightly through here, very lightly. And you're gonna start to already see, you kind of have, when you start to layer like this, you kind of see it pop through, which looks really cool. So that's all we're gonna do for that part there. And then we're gonna go in to the yellow and we're gonna add a little bit of white. So that'll be our next step, is just, if you have yellow on your plate already, I have some, you can just pull some aside. So find a little bit of room, pull a little bit aside, and just add a little bit of white to it. You kind of wanna get like a butter yellow effect if you don't have just an actual tube of lighter yellow. And then I'm just going to pull some white up in there and mix it. So we're just gonna end up with like a very light yellow here. And then what I'm gonna do is take my brush and kind of just wipe it off like I did before. I still see some red coming through, so I'm just gonna give it a quick wash. Okay. So I'm gonna go in to the butter yellow and just kind of tap on the edge here. So I just have my edges. And I'm just gonna kind of hit and miss lining this part of the hat here. So I'm going to go on like a 45-degree angle. So just your one edge of your brush is touching. And you're just gonna go along like this and kind of hit and miss. So see how I'm hitting and missing, and how you do that is just you're going heavier and then you're lifting up a bit and then you're going back down and lifting up. And that's how you're gonna get that. And then I'm gonna go above a little bit and just kind of do it offset. So if my brush was the lightest, if I had my brush at the lightest point here, then the line above, I'm gonna do it a little bit thicker where it's a little bit lighter, and that kind of offsets it. And then same thing with up here. So I'm just bringing down some color. So you can see here, right there, I'm just starting here. I'm just kind of brushing down and just kind of flicking into that a bit. Everything here is pretty light-handed. So if you're gonna press down too hard, you're gonna get like a big solid smudge, and that's not really what we're going for. So just very lightly on a 45-degree angle, working on one edge of your brush. That's how you're basically going to be doing the rest of this part here. And then same with up here in the hat, just kind of on a curve here, we're putting like a little highlight. So we're just hitting and missing again. You can even do a little one over here if you want, just lightly. And then same thing with down here. I'm just gonna put a little bit more right down here. So I'm just gonna come up from the edge. I'm gonna follow kind of the curve of the hat. So same with I did here, I followed the curve, follow the curve. I'm gonna do that here. So it kind of comes up and out. So I'm gonna come up like this and just kind of do that. Let me know if that's all making sense. So when you're done now, you can wash off your brush, and we're gonna go to the smaller flathead brush. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we'll work on her dress, and all we're doing really is whatever color you picked. So let's say Lindsay picked a white dress, so she's gonna take and she would add a tiny bit of black to the white, and you're just gonna make a very light gray. So whatever color you chose, you're just gonna try to make it a bit darker. So if you did blue like me, I'm going to take a little bit of black, and I'm talking very little amount because black is very potent. So I have, let's say this here as a big glob. I'm going to take like the very tip of my brush, and that's all I'm going to add to this blue here. I'm going to mix it in. And what this is going to do is just going to bring it down a tone. So same, if you did, let's say you did a pink dress, you could add a tiny bit of red to it. And then that would just make it a darker tone. Okay, So now I'm a little bit darker here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go on the edge. I'm going to leave, so I'm going to have the light coming from this side of my page hitting her in the face. So I'm going to have the light, the lightest part's going to be on the closest part that you can see. So I'm using a darker tone, so I'm going to do it on the opposite side. So the shadow is going to be closest to her skin. And I'm just going to take this brush here, use it as the skinny part, and I'm just gonna brush down. And it doesn't have to be solid. Like if you see a little bit of light blue there, that's okay. And then just brush down. And then what I like to do is, if you have any remaining color left, so say Lindsay, if you do this with a light gray and you can see like a defined line there, what you can do is take and just wipe your brush off, and you're going to go right into your white. So if you did white, you're going to go into your white and you're going to kind of blend it. So I'm going to go into my blue because I originally did a light blue on there, and right where those two meet, I'm just going to go back and forth. And then I can go back down. So you can see now right there, it's looking more like a shadow than it is just like a blob of paint on there. So right on your line of where it meets, you're just going to go back and forth. And it's going to gradually get darker here. And you're going to do the same thing. And this is how shadowing goes for blending shadowing. This is how it goes for every single thing that you do. So I'm going to go into my dark. And I'm going to put it here. And then wipe off my brush, go back into the original color I used, and I'm just going to meet it in the middle. So I'm not going to go all the way to the edge because you don't want to cover up what we just did, but we're just going to be blending it so that it's a gradual darkened tone. And I'm going to do the same exact thing with that dress, but the opposite way. So I'm going to take a little bit of my blue and add a tiny bit of white. Now, if you did white already for your dress, don't worry about this part because you're as light as you can get. And I'm just going to make it a tiny bit lighter. I'm going to do the same exact thing. So I'm going to go closest to where the light would be, which is on the edge here. And I'm just going to brush down and follow. Same with here. So now you can see that highlight coming through, and I'm just going to keep blending it in. And this is a very light amount of paint I'm using. So you can see how it goes there. And if you need a little bit more, if you want it a little bit lighter, you can just go back into your paint and just kind of add that highlight. That's how we kind of get like the ombre effect from dark to light, or light to dark. So that will be her dress there. And it's basically going to work the same way with her skin tone. So I'll give you a couple minutes to catch up there, and then what we're going to be doing is, if you made your own skin tone, it's probably not dry on your plate yet. If it is, then you'll have to mix a bit more. So just remember the brown, double the amount of white, and then a little bit of orange, a little bit of yellow, and a little bit of light pink. But I still have mine here, and it's pretty wet still. So what we're going to do is I'm going to make it a little bit darker and a little bit lighter. So I'm going to add a little bit more brown just to the one side. You can see there we have now a little bit darker, lighter to lighter. This is the one that was already pre-mixed, so I'll probably just add a tiny bit of white to that. You can do the same thing with yours here. Just add a tiny bit more white on the one side. So you're gonna have 3 different colors. You're gonna have your original one going, you're gonna have a little bit of a darker skin tone, and then you're gonna have a little bit of a lighter skin tone. And you can see the 3 shades in there. I got the 1, the 2, and the 3. So just give me a thumbs up if you're ready to move on to the doing her skin tone. I see 1. I'll wait for a couple more. Okay. All right, so the darkest part of her skin is going to be closest to her hat. So same thing that we followed here, just all along this line here. And then we're going to be blending out into her regular skin color, and then a little bit lighter on the outside where the sun would be hitting her face, or the light. So I'm going to take and go in, and I'm still using my flathead small brush. I'm going to go into the dark, and I'm just going to go along here. And it does not have to be perfectly like all around the edge. And I'm just going to give a shadow. I'm going to go about halfway, like about halfway to the end of the face. And I'm going to dunk my brush in the original color her skin tone was, and I'm just going to meet that line there. And I'm not washing off my brush between this. I want the 2 colors to blend. You can kind of work with it. So if you feel like it's a little bit too light, you can go back into your dark and kind of just put that back in there a bit. And then you go a little bit into the lighter. Just kind of follow the edge of the face. And this is where you kind of play around back and forth with the colors, because you can see right now the shadow is, or the light is not really reflecting the shape of her face. So I'm going to go back into the original color her skin was and kind of just bring that back here. And then also with the dark tone, I'm going to go back and just kind of follow that line there. And that's really like with blending, you just kind of go back and forth between the colors until you get the right spots that you want it to blend. So for me here, I see, like, I feel like the darkness should still be just rounded out a bit where her cheeks would be. And you can see in there, you kind of have a slight from lighter to darker tone. And then I'm going to do the same thing all down like her neck here, and then halfway on her chest. I'm going to take that darker color and go in. And then into her original skin tone on the edge here. And just go back and forth over that line. And you can see it's like a small progression. I don't want it to be too crazy. And then I'm going to do the same thing with her shoulder. I'm actually going to add a little bit more brown just for the shoulder because it's covered by the hat, technically from the sun. So it's going to be a bit darker here. So I'm going to add a bit more brown. And then just go follow the curve of her shoulder. Down here, and then I'm going to put one line down the center of her arm here, like this. And that's okay if it looks too dark. I'm going to go back into the original color and just blend that out right through there. So back and forth through the same line. You can see it starting to blend here. And then same thing on this side. And I'm going to go back with the dark and just kind of all blend that in. So back and forth between the colors until we get that consistency. And that's really what it is. That's really what blending is for really any color you want to do this with. If you're doing a skyline or anything like that, it's just back and forth with the colors. You want them wet on wet, always wet on wet. And that's when you get that shadow. Okay, so the last step really is we're going to work on just the shadow of the black, and then it will be done. So we're just going to make this in here a little bit darker, a little bit thicker around here, and then put in a couple little shadows and then a little bit of white just to highlight, and then we'll be done. So I say maybe, what time is it, 10? About less than 10 more minutes. Is everybody having fun? Give me a thumbs up if you're having fun. It's so quiet over here. I think both my kids fell asleep. Well, my daughter definitely fell asleep. She fell asleep probably an hour ago or more, but I think my son's pretty quiet too. Yay, thumbs up. Woohoo, hearts. Oh, it's the little things in life that make me happy. Yes. I think this year, 2020, this is definitely a year that we realize the small things make us happy, because it's been a crazy year. What is going on? How is this happening? I'm like feeling like some days I'm like, hey, I got this under control. The kids have been home for 4 or 5 months now. I haven't gone psycho yet. But then now it's like, do the kids go back to school in September? They're saying yes, and I'm saying, I don't think so yet. I'm not comfortable with it. Everybody's at a different place with this. But I don't know where I am. I'm like, if I don't send them, then I'm gonna lose my mind. But if I do send them, then I'm gonna lose my mind because I'm gonna be like, are they sick? It's like, is there a win-win in this? But anyways, this year has taught me to enjoy the little things and appreciate that sometimes we don't need to go so overboard in the things that we do to entertain ourselves, because when there was absolutely no entertainment, we survived. So we found little things in life that made us happy, and that's my one. I always say every paint party I do a little preach, so that's my preach for today. But giving everybody some time to catch up and do this final step. And when I preach, I feel like you need to see my face. So, I don't know. See the conviction in my words. But anyways, okay. We are going to put the black on here. So if you need black, put it on your plate. And we are going to do all this with this small flathead brush. Okay. So what we are doing is, let's work first in here. So we are going to take some black and we're just going to push it off to the side. So I'm taking my black and I'm just putting it to the side a bit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to dunk my brush in the water, fully wet, and I'm going to take and I'm just going to put the water in there. So I'm making it just a little bit thinner. See how it's kind of running down there? Just a tiny bit thinner. I'm going to do that a couple times. Just until I have more of a runny paint. And then I'm just going to take my brush and just wipe it off quickly. I'm not going to rinse it, just wipe it off on my napkin just to get all that excess black paint out of there. And then I'm going to go back into this watery black mess. Yoli says, I missed it, but I will be doing this tomorrow. It really looks gorgeous. Thank you. Let me know if you have fun. Send me a picture. Makes my day when I see your pictures. Okay, so in here with our watery black paint, we're just going to lightly kind of just stroke it on there. And you're going to want to leave some red showing through. You want like signs of life from that hat still. So we're just going to go lightly. And at this point here, because it's a bit thick still, this point here, we're going to take our brush that is solid black, we're going to dunk it in the water, and we're not going back into the black paint. So we're just dunking it in the water, and we're just going to continue to paint this part here. Kind of leaving pieces showing through. It's going to be a little bit more see-through. And when we get to the base here where it's kind of rounded, we're going to round it with our brush as well. So we're just going to follow that round part there. And then when we get close to the skin here, we're going to go back into that paint that's a bit thicker. And we're just going to close that gap in. And the reason that we're doing this is because, so when we're close to the skin here, that's her back technically. So there isn't going to be any light against her back because the light is coming, we decided, from the front. If the light was coming from the back, then maybe that would be a different story. But we're going to make the light hit her face. So right against that back area, we are not going to have any light. So it's going to be the darkest. And then as we come out, I'm just going to dunk my paintbrush in just the water again. As we come out here, there's going to be little pieces of light kind of showing through. Just like that. So that'll be that. We're going to skip up right into the top part of the hat, and we're just going to put a little shadowing in here. So still with our wet brush, we haven't really changed anything. We're just going to move back and forth slowly and kind of thicken this line. And then we're going to bring the line out a bit. So just kind of giving a little bit of a shadow there in the corner. And it's still with the thin paint. We don't want it too thick. We still want to see the hat a bit through, but nothing too crazy there. And I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm only sticking my paintbrush a little bit in the water. And I'm gonna come up through here and give a shadow. So right under the hat, the closest it is, that's where the most shadow would be. So I'm gonna put my brush flat like this. And really, when you're doing shadowing, like, you can use the flathead brush flat, you can use it skinny. So kind of go with what space you're filling. Here I filled a small space, so I used the skinny part of my brush and I worked that way. Here I'm filling up a bigger space, so I'm gonna go flat and I'm just gonna go light-handed, hit or miss down here a bit. And that's gonna give us that shadow in there. And if you feel like it's a bit, I feel like it's a bit too transparent, just go back into that watered down black and you can just do that again. So you kind of got to work with your paint. You got to kind of work with what look you want too. So maybe I want it a little darker, maybe you don't, and that's completely fine. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing along this edge here. So we're just going to have it flat and just kind of hit or miss all the way down here. And I'm just going to put a couple in here, just a couple quick. Now see, here I didn't want too thick of marks. I want it to be skinnier, so I went from flat here. I flipped my brush to be on the skinny side, and I kind of just put a couple streaks in there. Lindsay says, are we doing hair? No, the original one doesn't have any, but if you want to, feel free. You can stick some hair down there. Oh, that did not sound good. You know what I mean. Stick some hair in there somewhere. Anyways, yeah, don't mind my sense of humor. Okay, so here it's just like a shadow. I don't have hair. Her hair's tucked up in a bun or something up there. But if you want to throw some hair on her shoulders or down, that would be great. Whatever you want to do. Make it your own. Okay. And then what we're going to do is, still with that watered down black, I'm going to just come right against the edge of her whole face. So all of this here is going to be the darkest. I went all the way down to there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take on a 45-degree angle the flat side of my brush, and I am going to stick it on the side of her face, like right where that black line is that you outlined. I'm going to stick that flat part of the brush at a 45-degree angle on there. I'm just going to lay it on there like that, and I'm going to do a quick stroke out, just like that, all the way along. You can see there's just a quick flick all the way down. We're just following the line of her body. Patty says, this painting is so lovely, we'll have to do it tomorrow. Yes, do it and send me a picture. You can leave it in the comments or message me. I want to see everyone's creations. I love how they always look so different. Especially like Lindsay says she's doing a white dress. So right there already the picture is different. So, and her hat is pink. So I can't wait to see it. And I feel like through here the shadow's a bit light still. So I'm just going to go back through a second coat with that watered down black and just kind of darken it a bit. And that's really what we're doing across her face here. So we can come down here and leave a little bit of like a jagged edge. So how you would do that is just same way, 45-degree angle on the flat side and just kind of like go back and forth. So then you kind of get like that jaggedness here. And I did it a little bit up here too. So just kind of coming out a bit here and there just because, you know, a shadow is not necessarily straight. It's taking the shapes, right? So we're going to do that. And that's basically it here. The only thing that I did a little bit different, but this is not a huge deal, is I just put a little bit of a separation here, but that's up to you. I'm not going to change mine now because we can keep tweaking our paintings. And then we're just going to put in some white highlights. So I'm just going to grab that pointed number 3 brush and grab some white. We're just going to put in a couple small highlights. And then we will be done. Mine is signing your name. You can't forget to sign your name or your initials and be proud of your work. Okay, so my highlights are just going to be random. There might be a little highlight that hits the tip of this hat in the far corner. The sun might have reached around. So basically what I'm doing is I have just a little bit of white paint on my brush. I'm just going light-handed and I'm just going to go around like that. So that's it for there. And then up here too, just a little highlight like that. And I did a little one there. And then you can kind of throw a highlight in the middle there. You just do what you feel. Like, if you feel like you need a highlight there, throw her in. And I just did one coming down there. And that, I think, is all I did. Oh, one more spot. Just at the tip of this hat here. Just like that. Throw a couple white ones in there. Just because I want to. All right. So I'm going to sign my initials. Just at the bottom here. And that completes the paint night. I hope you guys had fun. And I hope I didn't keep you too long. I knew this one would be a little bit longer. Usually I keep them around 2 hours, but this lady was so beautiful and I just wanted to share it with everybody. So I knew this would be a little bit of a longer one, but I think it was worth it. And I'm gonna just show you a couple paint nights I have coming up. So flip this up. Okay. And let's see what we have coming in the future. Okay. So this one here is one. I am doing a parent and me paint night. So if you have kids or you have grandkids and you want to do this one, I think it's the 5th of August. All my events are posted on my page. So if you like or follow my page, go to my events and you will see the dates exactly. But we're going to be doing this one. So this will be cute. My daughter is going to do this with me. My son hasn't decided yet. He's kind of on the fence about it. So me and my daughter will definitely be here that day doing this. And then, let me see what else. This one's coming up this Wednesday, I believe. We're going to be doing this one. This one will be a little quicker, about 2 hours to do something like this. And then what else do I have? But yeah, these sheets are awesome because, like I said, look at how many paintings I've done and it just does not go through. Which way are we going here? I'm going the wrong way. Okay. Okay, so then we have this jellyfish guy. I'm going to be doing that one in August. And then this one in August as well. Oops, what am I doing? Flipping it backwards. So this is my farewell to summer painting because I think it's the end of August we're doing this. And it's the last really painting I will do for summer before I start getting into Halloween and fall and all those very pretty colors. So please feel free to join me. Every single one I showed you is free, so there's no charge. And send me your paintings. I want to see them. Don't be shy and don't be hard on yourself. I know my number one thing when I do in-person paint parties is this wasn't good or I didn't do this good enough. it's all a learning process, and the more you do it, the better you're gonna get. So don't give up. I started 10 years ago, and the very first painting I did seriously looked like crap. It was like the worst. I didn't know any techniques. I didn't know how to put my brushes properly. And I just, after 10 years of just practice and self-teaching, you just get better. And I mean, I have a lot to learn still too, but if I can show you at least to the level that I'm at, then I'm happy. So thank you so much for joining me tonight. If you liked doing this, join me again, like or follow my page, and you'll see all future events. If you are local, then you can also see the signs I do as well. So, yeah, have a good night, guys, and thank you very much.